You folks ready?
I'm ready.
Like you've been here a while? All right. I call the Kitty Hawk Town Council to order this Monday, April 3rd, 2017, at Kitty Hawk Town Hall. It's now 6 p.m. Welcome to all, and those that are here, we're glad to see you. And those that will view this later, we appreciate you taking the time. If you'll join us with a moment of silence, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next we have approval of the agenda, and I'm going to add an amendment to add debris contract under new business. It's item 9D, and basically what we're doing is we'll be approving the contract, if you folks agree, so that we can get that project underway. So with that in, do I hear a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
And,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have approval of the agenda. We were supposed to have a maritime archaeologist, Will Sasser Rossi, I think is the way he's, but he's not here. So we're going to move Michelle Clower and coastal specialists up. And
Good evening. Thank you for having me this evening and for hearing about our project on Moore Shore Road along Kitty Hawk Bay. Again, I'm Michelle Clower. I'm with the North Carolina Coastal Federation. We're a North Carolina specific nonprofit. We focus on water quality and healthy coastal development. We do a lot of restoration projects along the coast. One of which is Living Shoreline projects. So we've presented to the council before, but for the audience's sake, I'll give some background. So Living Shorelines are a creative approach to maintain, restore, or enhance the shoreline's natural habitat while providing stabilization. We like living shorelines for many reasons. So again, they provide stabilization. They also improve the water quality of the area, and they provide the necessary habitat for the increased productivity of crabs and shrimp and fish and whatever else lives in the estuary. They've been proven to be an effective erosion control method. Recent research has concluded that living shorelines actually outperformed bulkheads and riprap during hurricane conditions. So to spread the word about living shorelines and to implement them up and down the coast, we received a grant through the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration to cost share with waterfront entities on the implementation of living shorelines. So basically we're able to cost share with them on the cost of the project. So these are just a few examples of living shorelines up there. The one to the left is composed of an offshore granite cell, the regrading of the shoreline if necessary, and the planting of marsh grasses. And the one to the right is the one with the offshore wooden or vinyl sill, and again, the regrading of the shoreline and the planting of marsh grasses. So these sills are typically offshore, like 20 to 30 feet offshore. They have gaps in them, so the way that they work is that they act as a speed bump. So the wave hits the offshore sill first, which dissipates a large amount of energy, which is then further dissipated by the marsh grasses behind. So a project that was brought to our attention, and one of the projects that was selected for our NOAA grant, was the community along Moore Shore Road. So the reason that this area ranked so high in our grant selection process was because of the immediate concern of erosion to the area. Also, because of the community involvement and the community uses of the area. So this area has been eroding about a foot a year from 96 to 2012, so that doesn't include a few major recent storms. It's emergency access for emergency vehicles. It provides access to a walking and biking path, and it houses the local annual marathon. So we wanted to do something that would maintain these community uses of the area, but also provide stabilization and promote a productive ecosystem. So here are a few pictures. You can see the erosion occurring. So that's the road right there, and that's Kitty Hawk Bay. And during a strong storm, or even just a strong wind, the bay can even overlap onto the road. So the area that we're concerned with, that has the closest areas of the road to the bay, is the area in the dash right there. It's kind of hard to see, but you can probably see from the red down. It totals about 840 linear feet, and it's 6 waterfront homeowners and 1 town-owned property. So we've been working with Coastal Engineering and Surveying to put together some preliminary designs for a living shoreline. So this option is with a wooden or a vinyl offshore sill. And again, it's low profile, so it's about 5 inches or 6 inches to a foot above mean water height. And that will sit about 20 to 30 feet offshore. And then it has the planting of the marsh grasses. This is a granite option, so it's the same thing. It's a low profile offshore sill. Both of these sills will have gaps in them, at least every 100 feet. There could be more, to allow for fish passage and navigation. This also has the planting of the native marsh grasses. So this design will help to maintain the community uses such as kayaking and fishing, while also providing stabilization. So we've made some progress since the last presentation. So the community applied for and was selected for the NOAA grant. Coastal Engineering conducted their initial survey work. We met with Division of Transportation to see a potential partnership for the project. The community applied for NC-CCAP funding. That's through the Dare County Soil and Water District, and they were selected for that funding as well. We met with the permitting agencies to get their initial feedback on the design, and we met with community members along North Shore Road to see their contribution to the project.
Can you back up just a moment?
Sure.
I want to make sure council is clear on something. The NC-CAP funding through the Dare Soil and Water, that is different from the one we're talking about tonight for stream debris, correct?
That's correct. Same agency
But
that helped us get it, but different.
we're talking two
Funds.
separate funds?
Yes, sir.
All right. Everybody understand that? I wanted to make sure, because I was a little confused. Thank you.
So funding to date that we have in hand, that would be the NOAA and the CCAP funding. That totals $70,000 worth of grant funding we've secured. If we get Division of Transportation and some concerned community members on board, the funding for the project can be as much as $105,000 secured. The scope of the project and what it will cost to do the entire 840 linear feet will cost between $152,000 and $215,000 for the permitting, design, and construction. So we have 2 options moving forward with the money we have secured. We could go ahead and take the 2 grants that we have, the NOAA grant and the CCAP funding, totals $70,000, and we can just move forward with that. We won't be able to do the entire shoreline, but we will be able to do 2 or 3 properties, which will protect a good bit of the road, but it might cause some problems in the future, as it's always better to treat erosion as a whole system instead of just to treat patches here and there. However, for this option, we will still need a champion for the project who will oversee the long-term maintenance. Or we could construct the entire 840 linear feet. This leaves about $145,000 at very most to be funded. That means we would need some other type of involvement, so either town involvement and DOT involvement to do the entire shoreline. So we wanted to come forward to the town council this evening to bring you up to speed on the project, and to have an official ask for town involvement of the project. So either option moving forward, we'll need some type of involvement outside of the grants we've been able to secure and the community involvement that we have secured. Thank
Okay.
you.
A couple of things now, to carry on with what you're doing. Andy, I'd ask you to tell me whether or not we could support what's left, basically. Were you able to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, we'll be, if we could, I'd like to discuss that at the budget work session
Okay.
on April 24th.
When do you need to progress? I know you're on some sort of a timeline.
Right, so we would need to know that we're spending our NOAA grant on this project by June, I believe.
Oh, okay. We'll have our budget workshop at the end of the month, so we can do that. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. All right, so that's going to be part of our budget workshop.
Okay.
Andy's already been asked to look and see if that amount of money at a maximum could be available. I would assume the rest of council would have no objection for future maintenance. I think we're going to have to do that anyway. And I would, for public purposes, I want to make sure we understand what's going on here. From the town perspective, because homeowners actually started this process. But for town purposes, the tax money that would go into this is for saving the road, the path, stopping the erosion so that we have that corridor in the future. And to do that, there has to be easements from the homeowners. We're not saving homeowners' waterfront property. Homeowners retain riparian rights out to whatever their property lines were before it eroded away. They have a right to go over it, to access across it, those sort of things. But once a line is established that this is where the erosion is and we're building, seaward of that, at that point, they have no right of accumulation after that to build on it or do otherwise than just access across it. Same as any of us that own marshland, same as now. It's called riparian rights. So we're not saving homeowners' property or waterfront property, we're trying to save a road. I just want to make sure everybody's very clear on that. And the other thing I wanted to bring to council, with all the things that we've done, the money we spent east of 158, all the infrastructure that we're trying to put in for drainage and those sort of things, when you look at that and you say to yourself, well, what are we doing on the west side? Essentially not much. This is something we can do, I hope, if Andy can find the money, on the west side. It's needed. It gives us something to do for the village, so to speak, and I hope that you agree with me that that's what we want to do. So I think the answer for you tonight is we're going to look at the money. If we have it, Andy will be in touch, and then hope you proceed from there.
Great, thank you.
And I assume you prefer option number 2, correct?
We do, yes.
Okay.
Well, we do too,
Yeah.
because we don't want it to come around the edge.
Yeah.
All right? Everybody on consensus?
I agree.
All right, we have a consensus. All right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have you all seen these projects before anywhere? Have you seen whether we've done these in other places?
Actually, they showed us some examples that have been done, and one of them is Twitty, when he lost to erosion out there on the sound front in front of, on the sound side.
Right,
And he put some of this kind of thing out, and then they showed us some other examples of that in other places that are in force.
they've got it down to Ocracoke, and we were walking down there, going to pick up clams and so forth, and the amazing part about this project is there was fish, a ton of fish that came through those little channels you're talking about,
Right, yeah.
and every kind of wildlife you'd ever want to see. And grass is growing there, so it really reestablishes the shoreline between that and where the shoreline was before.
Right, and this is, I found some, this is our last presentation. This is near Durant's Point in Hatteras. So that's the before and after, that's with rock.
Yeah,
And,
it's a good project.
this is Eden House, it was a bulkhead, and it failed. And then that's rock and just some, thank you, marsh grasses.
It's gonna be rock.
We're in collaboration with coastal engineering and the permitting agencies to determine what will have the less impact to submerged aquatic vegetation, which is just submerged vegetation that's protected. So it's still to be determined since our meeting with the permitting agencies.
But I can almost assure you it's going to be the bulkhead type, fencing type,
Less
because
footprint.
the footprint is, the rock seal footprint is so wide
Mhm.
from what the engineer was telling us and from what I know.
Right.
In that area, there's a lot of SAVs, so I think it would be a seal arrangement.
Cheaper that way too.
Right. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have public comment. I was hoping some people would be here, but let me say this. If there's any thoughts on the resolutions that we have before us, and there's about 3 of them dealing with General Assembly things, if you have any thoughts on those, and you're going to speak at public comment, share that with us, because one of the complaints I've read in the Voice is that, the town councils and boards are just doing what they want to do, and they're not listening to the public. Well, we're trying to listen to the public. If you don't tell us, we don't know what you're saying. It's that simple, so. All right, we have public comment. Anybody signed up?
Yes, sir. Donnie King? Yes.
Are you open yet?
I'm sorry?
Is your restaurant open?
Oh, yeah, it's open right now. And
All right.
I apologize after this short talk. I'm going to head back over there and keep things rolling.
Did you bring us any food?
I should have. I had a prior. All right. So most of you do know me as Donnie King from Ocean Boulevard and Better Beaches OBX. I was happy to see Michelle's presentation for the Coastal Federation, because we do have parallel goals as far as, kind of protecting our way of life here in Kitty Hawk as we face more and more erosion and just natural forces that, are doing what they do, and we want to keep trying to do what we do. I want to thank you all for your efforts in actualizing a beach nourishment project for Kitty Hawk. Most of the hard work is behind us, and we have something to look forward to in just a couple of months. I am also here to offer some help with the maintenance stewardship of the newly augmented beach. Regardless of how the project turns out, we know we will have a fairly wide berm to stabilize, some sort of starter dune, and the means to grow and beautify that starter dune as time moves on. If you ask anyone involved in our Shoreline Committee in Nags Head about major concerns regarding the 2011 Beach Nourishment Project, one of the key topics is blowing sand. Stabilizing sand is not extremely difficult or extremely costly, but it needs to be done. This is evidenced by areas in South Nags Head and to a certain degree of nuisance in Nags Head. A professional effort by landscaping contractors and/or dune stabilization contractors is needed for the winter of 2017 to 2018. I would also like to offer a volunteer effort to begin establishing the protective dune and/or augment the contractor's efforts where needed. We at Better Beaches OBX have a growing roster of over 60 volunteers working in Nags Head on a casual basis, sprigging dunes. Some team leaders and people who have brought other skills and ideas to the table are also available, and we expect to grab many more volunteers from how we built Better Beaches OBX in Kitty Hawk. We also consult with regional experts to better understand how to apply these efforts. Being volunteers, we want to offer this work and experience on our own time. However, we will be requesting a system for obtaining materials from the town of Kitty Hawk to be used within the town limits. We set up a system with Nags Head that has allowed us to stabilize some key areas in South Nags Head and gain experience with other areas that have proven more difficult. We understand that the degree of difficulty is due to the fact that we started over 4 years after the Nourishment Project, and a lot of work that could have been done hadn't been done after the Nourishment. In regards to stabilizing the sand, keeping it where we would like it, using it more effectively as a barrier to, how something for the ocean to pull out and put in the system as opposed to going further west. We understand, 4 years after it, and excuse me. We look forward to presenting to you an upcoming May 1st meeting and hopefully getting started this fall. So we'll have a more in-depth presentation at that meeting if we're allowed.
You're aware that sand fencing is a part of our project,
Absolutely. And I
all right?
appreciate
And
that.
you're aware that council has passed ordinances to keep people from damaging or disrupting the sand fence once it's put in place?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the more effective things that we've been doing is the sprigging. That's kind of our, it's for one thing, it's kind of easy. We can get a lot of people out there. It's relatively low impact. And for two, that the sand fence is stationary. It stays there. One row, some areas might get overwhelmed, some areas might not. And once you get those sprigs going, they kind of work for you. We do propose to add to it, especially in areas where it's been affected or didn't grow as well. But eventually, when those stands take hold, they can do a lot of work for everyone.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, council's going to turn that over to the manager and Public Works.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Is it budget time?
Huh?
It's getting close to budget time,
There
isn't
you go. Well, I'm assuming that with all the beach nourishment we're doing, there's no money coming for sand fencing anymore. Is that correct? I mean, that's an assumption on my part.
It's correct.
Okay, well, it makes sense, because all the money's being spent. It's that simple. All right, anyone else?
No, sir.
Anyone else wish to speak? All right, let the record show, no one came forward. All right, consent agenda. Council, you'll hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, nothing was removed. So we're in planning already. And we have proposed additions. We don't have any hearings, so I don't have to call for hearing, right?
Correct.
All right, if you'll remember, last month, we adopted the new town code, new section of town code that, in addition to prohibiting tampering with the sand fencing like you just mentioned, also prohibiting beach pushes after June 1st, when the beach nourishment project starts. At that meeting, I had mentioned that our original thought of putting in language in the ordinance to prohibit sandbags, we'd been advised that the preferred method would be go through a land use plan amendment just state our opposition in the land use plan, and that CAMA would not issue permits from that point on. So I drafted up language to that effect, and I sent it to Frank Jennings over in Elizabeth City with the Division of Coastal Management. And his response was that that language would work, but it would be cleaner and a better way to tackle it by putting an ordinance in. So we're back to where we originally started with it. I should note that he did point out that even with an ordinance, if this gets approved, we'll notify them and the same after June 1st, or when beach nourishment starts, they'll no longer issue permits for new sandbags, but they will still be required to issue permits for repair of existing ones. And just the basic rundown, it's prohibiting the placement of new sandbags for temporary erosion control, with the exceptions of basically when it's sponsored or required by the town, state, or federal agencies. As we pointed out last month, hopefully after the beach nourishment project, we won't have to deal with it over there by Black Pelican anymore, but you never know, and we may end up having to do that. So this gives us a way to be able to do it in necessary cases to save infrastructure, but will not allow private property owners to place them around their houses. The basic reasoning is, once those sandbags are in place, they start acting like a hardened structure. It starts negatively affecting the adjacent property. It starts kind of scouring out behind it. So while it's helping the one house, it kind of hurts the adjacent properties and adjacent areas. With that, I'll turn it over to council for any questions.
Council, any questions? No? All right, you'll hear a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion.
All right,
I move to adopt the proposed text amendment to add subsection 6-27, item B, to the Kitty Hawk Town Code, prohibiting the use of sandbags as temporary erosion control measures. Town Council finds that the proposed text amendment is consistent with the town's adopted CAMA land use plan and finds this amendment to be in the public interest. The ordinance is to become effective upon commencement of the beach nourishment project or June 1st, 2017, whichever occurs first.
you'll hear a second.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, notify Frank. Okay. New business, floodwater management system bid recommendations. Andy, you want to give just a brief on what we're doing there?
Yes,
And you've got the engineer, if you'd rather tack him with it, it's up to you.
yeah, not a problem. Get to that item real quick. Thanks. Several months ago, after Hurricane Matthew, this item was brought before council to take a look at 4 additional pumping stations to complete or come close to completing the stormwater master plan. I believe that was adopted in 2012. So this is a continuation of this plan. What allows the town to accomplish something of this size without it necessarily being a budgeted item for the year is we took a look at our finances for last year, and with some of the savings that the town has saved over the past several years, you had a substantial fund balance, so we're going to use some of that money to complete this much-needed project. In addition to this, there was the Tateway project, Rabbit Hollow area project, that we still are under contract for the design, but the design's going to take a little bit longer. There's more players involved, DOT's involved. We're going to get DOT involved with that as well. So what's before you this evening are 4 additional pumping stations, one at Funk Street, one in the Bennett Street area, Starfish, and Perry Street. What these are basically just underground utilities that pump across the NC-12 into the ocean, and we hook the pumps to them during storm events. When the water rises above 16 inches, I believe, we're allowed to pump the water out of these areas. The town put the contract out to bid. We had three bidders, and we received some fairly good bids. The low bid was H&H LD LLC in the amount of $152,546. They recently completed the portions under the roadway before DOT resurfaced the road, so this is sort of a continuation of that project. And John DeLucia's here with our town engineer on this project, if there's any questions specific to the project you have. But the town staff would recommend awarding the contract to H&H LD in the amount of $152,000, and I believe the construction of this, we're wanting to schedule towards the middle of April, 1st of May, to get the project started before the summer. And we expect the project to take, I'll let you talk about the project schedule if you'd like and what the expectations are. So go ahead, John.
Good evening, I'm John Delucia from Elmore Associates. It's nice to be here for tonight. We got good bids on this project. We got numbers that came in under my estimates for it. The project, we'd like to get the project completed before the major tourist season starts. We've given them 60 days for construction purposes. Just to recoup on some things that I had said last time, to date, we have accomplished 108 acres of drainage improvements with the Bird, the Hawks, and the Takeway system. That was about 163 residences that are affected with that. By putting these 4 additional systems in, we increased that up to 262 acres, and we are looking at moving almost 500 houses. So this is a really good thing for council to be doing, I think. The systems were fairly effective. The ones that weren't were fairly effective last time after the hurricane. H&H has done a very good job for us in the past. They are a local Kitty Hawk contractor. So I recommend that we continue with this project. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Council, anybody have a question? Okay, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to award completion installation of an engineered flood water management system for Funk, Bennett, Starfish, and Perry Street to the lowest bidder, H&H LD LLC, in the amount of $152,546, plus a $5,000 contingency for a total cost not to exceed $157,546.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Get those pipes in there.
Andy, do you have that form?
Funk? Yeah.
Funk, go ahead.
Bennett, Starfish, and Perry.
Perry. Perry's right next to the townhouse.
All right, we squared away on that? Okay. Next, we have a proposed resolution in favor of maintaining the current ban on retailers providing customers with plastic bags and the defeat of House Bill 271. It seems to be rather controversial. If anybody's paid attention to The Voice, then you know there's a lot of comment, feedback onto it. So I decided to bring it before council, and we'll see where it goes from here. So the only thing I really have to add to what we might say is that I was at the meeting when Mark Bass Knight brought that up over at his restaurant. And at that meeting, he was proposing 10 cents, a 10-cent tax per plastic bag. And I can tell you, I didn't like that. But when he went back and it finalized out, there was no tax, but it was just a ban. I personally thought that was a little overhanded, but I've got used to it, and I think a lot of other people have too. So according to what I've been reading, a lot of people have gotten used to it and want to keep it. So it's kind of, I'm ambivalent. Council, you have a resolution? What do you want to do with it?
I think we need to keep it, and I think it's a shame that we're having to do this tonight.
Okay. Any other comments?
The plastic bag ban does need to stay in. Personally, I've noticed that right after, within a year after the ban went in, very few bags blowing around. And it used to be that they'd be hanging from every tree going down the road and out on the beaches, hanging on the sand fences. And it's nice that they have gone away. And I talked to a lot of stores, and they don't consider it a hardship. Everybody's gotten used to it, and a lot of people are kind of proud of it.
And I will add, for public consumption, to the best of my knowledge, certainly as mayor, I never received any heads up that this was coming. This just happened. And I think all the rest of the towns were the same. Did any of you have any idea that was coming until it happened?
No, sir.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, anyway, it was kind of blindsided, and whatever's pushing it, there it is. We have a resolution. We can read the whole thing, or I've provided you with a summary that you can read to approve it. Your choice.
Mr. Mayor, council has before it proposed resolution in favor of maintaining the current ban on retailers providing customers with plastic bags and of the defeat of House Bill 271. To summarize, this resolution is asking that the current ban on retail use of thin plastic bags for customers' use continue in the current form along the Outer Banks of Dare County. The public has accepted this ban as an acceptable method of reducing plastic waste into marine and land environments, reducing landfill overburden, and enhance the aesthetic appearance of our area for the tourist-oriented industry. Now, therefore, the Town Council of Kitty Hawk, a municipality located on one of North Carolina's coastal barrier islands in Dare County, and benefiting from the pristine beauty of the area by its residents and returning seasonal visitors enjoying an enhanced quality of life, does resolve that the finding of the General Assembly in Session Law 2009-163 are hereby adopted as finding of this government body, that Part 2G, Plastic Bag Managements, the Article 9 of Chapter 130A of the North Carolina General Status should not be repealed, and House Bill 271 be withdrawn from further consideration.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion?
I will say that I was at the same meeting you were at Mark's Restaurant, and I even called the next day and tried to get a clarification on what the thought process was behind it and so forth, but Mark wanted it, and so we knew it was going to get done. I, too, haven't got the foggiest idea. Nobody has contacted anybody to say why this came up. It was just something that came out of the blue. So if it happened and the municipalities not be, or the county not be in on the decision-making process, I don't understand that, and I disagree with it. So I'm fully in favor of not having this bill go through, and so I back the resolution.
All right, any further?
Excuse me, that was a motion by Councilman Pruitt.
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And it seems like the General Assembly is causing us to have a lot of resolutions, so we have another one. And this one is a resolution opposing proposed changes to municipal elections. And it started out with one, but they're trying to go partisan on everything. And so, anyway, that's what this one is all about. And, boy, you know, if they try to make everything partisan, unaffiliated, it makes it difficult. So, council, I have a summary if you want to read that, or you can read the entire thing if you want to make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
And I'm against this bill, too. Council has before it a proposed resolution objecting to current efforts in the North Carolina General Assembly to make all election partisan and change election cycles. The resolution, if approved by council, affirms the belief that the rights of local municipalities to choose their own forms of government and election cycles should remain nonpartisan at a local level and not subject to the dictate from the state legislator. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council of the town of Kitty Hawk, in order to protect the rights of local municipalities to choose their own forms of government, urge the Dallas County Legislative Delegation and all members of the state legislation to oppose any legislation with the intent of mandating partisan elections and/or changing election cycles to even number years unless requested by the municipalities.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, I have some comments, and then I'll ask you all for some comments. And these are comments to the partisan, nonpartisan election resolution. The current proposals before the North Carolina General Assembly appear intended to turn every electoral office in the state to partisan affairs. This amounts to an attempt at suppression of citizen participation in representation at local or statewide government levels. It is similar in many respects to voter suppression. An unaffiliated citizen desiring to serve his or her community is placed at a huge disadvantage to even getting on a ballot, in addition to competing with well-financed partisan candidates. As a result, good people that would bring reasoned, moderate voice to local government will not be an alternative choice for citizens to evaluate and judge on merits other than party affiliation. The often radical views and unyielding positions of both political parties have driven huge numbers of citizens to register unaffiliated. In some states, that's independent. The current effort by the General Assembly is an attempt to maintain absolute political party control in the face of that growing threat. The current attempts by the majority party to obtain party control at the General Assembly level is detrimental to responsible citizen government, and I strongly believe should be vigorously opposed. All right, council, anyone else have comments?
Well said.
I agree 100%. I mean, I certainly don't think there's any place for that in local elections. I think the people should be able to vote for the person to represent Kitty Hawk, whether, it doesn't matter what affiliation they are. And I really don't like this at all. It shouldn't have never been brought up.
Anyone else?
Agreed. I think this council, as well as any other council that I know of in Dare County, does their best to make the right decision for their citizens that they represent. And if you get politics involved, it's going to cause problems. I have no idea why this resolution, why this came up in the first place. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's going against what everyone on this council believes in and thinks it's the right thing to do.
And again, it came out of the blue. None of these have any town or council member been contacted to say, what do you think? So, there it is. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, next we have the amended item for debris, stream debris removal, contract approval, and that's really all we're doing here. And I added that because Andy needs to get this on the street so we can get that started. Again, if we can get it done before summer hits, it's to everybody's advantage. So, do I hear a motion to approve this?
So moved.
All
Second.
right. I think I gave you something. Did I give you something? Maybe not.
The email there, it's in, yeah,
I'm sorry?
it's the cover sheet with the email.
Cover sheet with the email.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the contract.
Okay, what do we need for Lynn? She's got to put something down. You're making a motion to revise the steam debris,
I make a motion to approve revised stream debris for the town of Kitty Hawk.
all right.
Is that good?
Will that work?
Yeah,
Did you say contract?
approve the contract, yeah.
I'll second
I
that.
guess. Don't confuse me.
All right, we have a second. And Lynn will fix it.
I will fix it.
After 30 years, you know how, right? She has 30 years, believe it or not. Yes. All right. Any further questions?
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have a contract. Moving right along. Okay, reports, comments from the town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The town's annual spring chipping service will take place on April 10th, 2017. Please place your vegetative debris by the right-of-way. It should be no larger than 4 inches in diameter and 6 feet long. The contractor will come through and chip up anything left in the right-of-way on April 10th. And then April 11th, the county will come through, the sanitation department, and do large item pickup. This won't include any commercial businesses, but for residents with refrigerators, things of that nature, put that by the road. There's a list of exclusions in our town newsletter and on our town's website for any of those interested in the large item pickup on April 11th. Also, some good news for the town once again this year, through the National Flood Insurance Program, which is regulated by FEMA, the town received a CRS rating of 6, which basically gives all the town residents a 20% discount in flood insurance. So I appreciate the building department's hard work on doing that. Also, Rob Testerman received his, he's now a certified floodplain manager for the town. So we received credit through FEMA on that as well. So congratulations, Rob, for getting that certificate. That's what, the people that work here is what's doing that for our residents. So it's good news for us. Also, the budget work session will be April 24th at 9 a.m., which is the last thing on our agenda, but just wanted to let you know that I'll be getting the budgets out probably a week prior to the work session. Other than that, that's all I have.
And let me add on that CR rating thing. That actually takes a lot of effort. Publications have to go out and you really, they get inspected. I didn't appreciate how much effort that
yeah.
requires in order to maintain that and keep it active. And did Rob ask for more money when he got that certification?
No. Town paid for training.
Not yet, huh? All right. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to commend you guys on your adamant opposition to those bills. I agree. I can't see any effect other than a negative one that they would have, and I don't know where they came from. I'm just like you guys. So I do want to applaud that, first and foremost. You guys look nice tonight. Hopefully the pictures went well. I feel completely underdressed here, so thank you for that. I did reach out to Mr. Gallup today. I will update you on the beach nourishment, the condemnation actions. And so we do have 2 remaining. They are a pair of owners. They own an oceanfront lot, of course, and their time to answer has expired, so that's good. We got nothing from them, so we're entitled now to our default judgment, which is kind of what we wanted. As far as the other, it'll lapse their time to answer. As we talked at last meeting, there's a 120-day period, and that period will lapse there on at the very, very beginning of May 2nd, and we've heard nothing from them either. So, and there's been about 2 months gone. So Ben's plan currently is the May 29th session in Currituck County, Superior Court session there. He expects to take both of those, hopefully to get our judgments and to be done with it. So outside of the compensation issue, if that becomes an issue. But so far as our default judgment, that's where we're headed.
We'd have never been able to pump sand last year.
No, not if.
I mean, it just, wow, all that rush, but anyway, whatever. Okay. All right, thanks, I think. Town council. Jeff?
Just congratulations, Rob. Appreciate it. That's it.
Again, also, congratulations. I know that's a lot of work to get that kind of certification. And thank you to the rest of the staff for being as wonderful as you are, and particularly our town clerk. That's all.
I'm fine. Congratulations. I'm good.
Congratulations, Rob. Lynn, 30 years. I didn't know you could get a job when you were 10 years old. Thank you, Lynn. We couldn't do without you.
Wow. Buttered that bread. All right, well, I've talked enough. I don't really have anything to add to anything, but we do appreciate all the work that people are doing. Any public comment? Anybody? Let the record show no one came forward. Do I hear a motion to recess to April 24, 2017, budget workshop, 9 a.m. here?
Motion to recess to April 24, 2017 for budget workshop, 9 a.m. Kitty Hawk Town Hall.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.